Hey guys, it's Keirhan here with another Zippo video. What I'm going to do with this one is I've bought a couple of Zippos in the last couple of days. They've just come through, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the little things that I do when I first get a Zippo through. Now, the first thing that I always do whenever I get a Zippo is I like to see how they're packaged. With a lot of people, if you're buying from a a collector especially, you'll find that if they're packing it in something like a bag like this in a normal typical envelope, you know, they probably don't care too much about how the Zippos look when they get to you, which is what you don't want. You want as a dealer essentially that cares about what they look like, cares about the finish and things like that. So some will send you them in boxes if they have them. I've got one here that I got today, which is in its original box actually, it's not even a fake one, and they came through in this. Now this one was loose, but you know, I'm not really bothered by that. It was loose around a box, so it couldn't really get damaged. Apart from me dropping like that, it couldn't really get damaged, so you know, I'm not really bothered by it. It's more when you have, say, 3 or 4 Zippos coming together from the same person and they're not even wrapped in bubble wrap that annoys me slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks. Now I don't have everything I used to have. I used to have boxes and boxes of stuff, as well as bottles and bottles of stuff. The best thing to have and the best checklist to have before you even start with things like this is Brasso. It's the first thing you want to buy. I don't know if they have this in America or somewhere else in the world. It's really good, and it covers all the metals that are used in the production of Zippos. A normal chrome Zippo like this, or even one like this actually, the way they're made is through a copper, I think it's copper, it might be brass, I think it's brass actually, a brass casing that's just that's just plated with whatever metals. So yeah, this really helps, and will pretty much it will cover most of your Zippos actually. Obviously you get Zippos like this with a special kind of finish, and the Zippo like this one as well, if I can get the lid off, like that one. There is a way to get these looking really nice, and I'll show you that in a minute. First thing I want to cover though is the Zippo itself. Now a lot of the times when you're buying off eBay, a lot of people, they'll put a load of photos but they won't put a video and things like that because they don't want to give too much away about it. They just want to get it out of the house kind of thing. So first thing I do is, of course, the sound check. Make sure it's a real Zippo. Also check the stamp on the bottom. That's a real beginner's mistake, not double checking that stamp. The next thing I do as well is I'll check the insert. This one, for example, isn't the original insert, I don't think anyway. I very much doubt it is. That's because the Zippo case is from June 2005, whereas the insert is from January, February, March. August 2006. Sorry, I am horrible with dates. So it's from August 2006. So there's a big difference there. There's a good year's worth of difference between the two, which leads me to believe that this isn't the original insert. That doesn't particularly bother me. I'm not too bothered by it. I pretty much just buy and sell these on. But you do get a lot of people out there, especially collectors like myself as well as other people, who will really get up in their bumps about it if it's not the original insert, because in some ways, in some markets, it can lower the value just because it doesn't have the original, so it's not quite, it's more like an amalgamation after that. So you know, that's probably one of the reasons why I'm going to sell this one. This one is all original. I'll go through that in a minute. You know, this one will probably go to a collector somewhere once I've made it look nice. The first thing you want to do though, after you've done all that, is you just want to literally take the insert out and check everything on the bottom. Now this isn't how it arrived to me. I have got everything here. It's not one of those that somebody's skinned me out of money. All I've done here is I've just checked that the wick on the inside, its length, and the fact that this length is so long and the this top is so burnt out leads me to believe that this wick is probably the original wick in the Zippo. The cotton wool came out in such a way that it leads me to believe it's probably the original. The next thing I did is I took out the spring and the follower, and then quite literally just span the wheel. Now that's probably moving too fast for you guys to see, but the fact that it can move easily both ways means that it's probably in good nick. The only problem I might have with it is the fact that it does wobble a bit. I expect a bit of wobble, but it's probably on the larger side, which means that it's probably being used by someone for tricks, probably because of the fact that it's got such a rough surface. It's easier to grab onto. The other thing as well is I check the lid. With Zippo tricks especially, just simple tricks like your pop top and things like that, and your things, they put a lot of stress on the hinge. Yeah, just simple things like that, they put stress on it and they can cause it to break and for eventually the lids to come off. This does move a lot more than I would be happy with normally on a Zippo. It is kind of worrying. It leads me to, that's another thing that leads me to believe that this has been used for tricks, as well as the damage on the corners. Usually with people who drop Zippos, they might drop it flat or they might drop it straight down. It very rarely lands on a corner, I find, when you get the normal person who drops a Zippo. People who do tricks though, the Zippo flies through the air in a certain way kind of thing. So that's what leads me to that as well, and the fact that it moves more to one side than the other as well leads me to believe that somebody's been trying tricks and maybe has messed up a couple of times and has dropped it and things like that. So, you know, it does happen. It's something that can lower the value as well if there's too much damage to the hinge, because eventually they'll have to send it off back to Bradford, Pennsylvania. So, you know, it's just one of those things that it moves more than I would like. There are a couple of little tricks you can do at home to help fix this problem, but I'd suggest if it's gone too far, to send it back to them and ask them to do a repair. It is free. The only cost actually is you buying an envelope and a first class stamp. So, you know, it's just one of those things. There's a couple of little things that I do, and the first one is I grab a cloth, not like that, like this one. You know, it's just a typical old-fashioned dusting rag, and I'll line that up on the inside, layering it a couple of times very thinly, so like it's a very thin line rather than a very thin layer. Lay it over the top of the Zippo, insert your fine nose tweezers, which I'll explain why you need in a minute, and you just crimp it slightly, and it can tighten it up a little bit. The other little things you're going to need as well for when you're doing just normal restoration is, of course, your I'd suggest for anyone out there, actually, try and track down a multi-tool like this. You should be able to get them from your local hardware store. However, they're usually the bigger ones. I'd really suggest trying to find a small one like this. It fits nicely into your repair tin, which I'd also suggest getting. I'll explain that in a minute. It fits nicely into your repair tin. It's nice and small. The pliers are essentially a needle nose, and you're not going to need a very big screwdriver or a knife or anything like that. Most of the stuff you're going to use it for is not going to be that big at all. So the reason why you'd want these is because they go nicely into your repair tin. A repair tin mine's just a small Rizzler tin, and that holds everything that I need in one place. It holds all my extra wicks, all my extra flints, and apart from big things like this and this, it can also hold, if you get one big enough, I do know people have big plastic boxes with these things in, that keep the toothbrush, their cleaning brush in, as well as extra one of these. I used to have about 8 of these that I kept in the tin. They fit in just nicely, as well as a bag of cotton wool and some extra pads. The reason why you're going to want to try and track down these if you are thinking about collecting Zippos is because of the fact that you might buy a couple of Zippos in that maybe, you know, from the 80s, and you got them quite cheap, and you know, oh, amazing, but you got them cheap for a reason. You probably got them cheap because say this spring a lot of people mistake this little golden end for part of the flint, and they pull it off and you have to buy a replacement. Also, you can buy a lot that the end, this one's alright actually, but the end might be really battered and beaten up beyond like belief really. I've had some where it's been completely sheared across the top, it's just been smooth, and I've had to get pliers on to get the damn thing out. These can be really frayed as well. You've got to remember that over time people are doing this constantly over the felt, and that will eventually fray the felt. Try to say that drunk. That will eventually fray the felt, and you know, it can just cause more damage and stuff, so it's a good idea to hold on to those. They can become full of dust as well, and that dust is generally, if a Zippo has been sat around for it's about a year I think, the flints turn to dust. They really do, they just turn to dust, and that can be caused by things like that, and that gets into the felt and damages it. And other things, obviously you're going to need your wicks, you're going to need your flints, and anything else. No, the only other cleaner thing you're going to need are some earbuds, or I don't know what they call them in America, I think like the wax buds or something. They're basically a little bit of plastic with a tiny bit of cotton wool on the end. Some of that and some alcohol. Cleaning alcohol works best generally, and the only other thing really that you're going to need if you're collecting Zippos to sell them on is car wax. Yeah, car wax, and that's for finishes like this one. This is a painted finish, very similar to the one you would get on your car actually, and you know, it's got a lot of little scratches all over the place, and a tiny bit of car wax on a cloth can really bring that up. I don't have any with me at the minute. I didn't realise I was getting a finish like this, so I will probably do another video of me cleaning this one and some more Zippos I've got coming. But first I'm just going to show you how I'm going to clean these ones. Now I haven't got any alcohol either, so my other little trick that I use is this stuff. Yeah, your fuel. Now a lot of people out there, this is a debated thing. A lot of people are like, no, you can't use your fuel, you can't use your fuel. I find it alright actually. The reason why is because it is a bit of a cleaner. It does act as a cleaner as well. For those of you who've had cheap petrol lighters in the past, if you put fuel on the outside, the stickers maybe come off and stuff like that and gone really smooth suddenly. That's because it just eats away at things like that. So what I do is I just take the lid, I take out the waterproof lining because you're not going to need it, and I put a drop in, quite literally just a drop of fuel, just enough to wet my my brush. Now all this is, now a lot of people use travelling brushes. I used to use this for my parade boots when I was in the cadets. I just cleaned it with a bit of alcohol years ago, and it's just come up this nice clean now, and I use it on my Zippos. And all I do, the first thing you want to do really is take the insert out, and before you even think about the brass or anything like that, take the insert out, wet your brush in your petrol. Now for a lot of people it depends how your skin reacts to the petrol. A lot of people's skin really dries out and can become very irritable and harmed. If you are one of those people, I would really suggest you wear gloves. I'll pan you down in a minute so you can see how I'm doing this, but I'm one of those people that doesn't have to wear gloves. My skin's really resilient, probably because I've been doing this for God knows how long now. So all I'm going to do is pan you down so you can get a better look at what I'm doing. Now, as you can see, my desk is lovely and tidy. That's all I've got. I'm just gonna, yeah. and all you do is you just rub it onto the side of your thing, like so. You'll notice that's come up very shiny really quickly. That's just because it's wet. And all you do is just keep scrubbing, and you'll get all that crap off. And I mainly focus really for the first couple of times just on this main body. And I'll move around and do the same. This is pretty clean. It's not too bad. It's another reason why I think that this is a replacement insert. And all you need to do is just bring it up so it looks that nice clean colour, which it does now. So all I'm going to do now is get a bit more with the petrol before it evaporates. And all you do now, if you've got alcohol and earbuds, you'd put some alcohol in your earbuds and you'd get inside here with that. Now I don't have any, I will get some soon, so all I'm going to do is just going to do the outside as much as I can. And all you want to do is you quite literally just want to scrub as hard as you can, getting into all those little areas that you might normally miss without a brush. And this brings up areas like this little wheel here, this little pin. It brings it up a totally different colour, and you can also really improve the way that your Zippo opens as well, because there's a lot of crap that gets into this spring. And all I do then is I just close it and carry on. You'll notice that I'm focusing on areas that get a lot of use but don't at the same time. Just turn it over again. And then I'm just going to try and get on the inside. I'm getting a bit, can't really get down much just because of the way that it is. And doing that has brought it up a totally different colour. Now the next thing I do after that is I just get my soft cloth, put it inside, and I rub. And this gets into all those little areas that you couldn't normally do, and this is where it's a good idea to have nails as well, because you can get into little areas, just give them a nice clean, like so. And you end up with this nice looking Zippo lighter that shines, well, insert should I say. Now how could you make that look better? Well, the first thing that you're going to want to do is get your brasso, and the reason for that is that you're quite literally just going to open it up. Now I shook this up a minute ago, I just want to make sure that there's enough in there. And all you want to do first is you just want to... Now a lot of people out there collect zippers and be like, what are you doing, what are you doing? I'm pulling this wick down a little bit so it's just through the top, so that it doesn't any of this doesn't go down into the wick and damages further down. And all you get to do then is just push it up down at the bottom so it's all inside here. Get a nice bit of cloth, literally a fingerful, finger amount, you don't really want much at all, like so. That's just my finger there, and I'm quite literally just going to open this up, put my finger over the top, and just pour a little bit onto the cloth like that. While it's laid down on the table so you've got a firm surface to work on, just rub it all over. You want to put a thickish layer on, you don't want to put too thick, a thickish layer. Just, it'll go a horrible dull little colour. A lot of people will think, oh, what are you doing that for? What you do is you put that aside and you leave that for about 10 minutes. And you move on to your next little cleaning job, which, believe it or not, is this. Now I can't really do much with this today. All I'm going to do is take a bit more fluid, get my brush wet a bit more, just try and get in this area here. just because there's a lot of soot in here from use. That happens a lot with people that might use it and don't clean it very well. It's just one of those things that you get after a while. It's really come up a different colour now. It's not much, but it's enough that it looks better when you look on the inside. And I'm just going to do the same here as well, making sure not to get too much on the outside where it can damage. There we go. So that's that done. And then you just want to pick up this again. You get a nice flat open bit again. Place your Zippo in, close it over and just rub like so. Now that stuff really does smell as well, Brasso does, but you'll see in a minute it brings up your Zippo a nice colour, really nice colour actually, and really polishes it as well. Like that. And there we go. And all you want to do is make sure you don't want to touch it again too much with your bare fingers. So this is where it might be a good idea to wear gloves, just so that you're not getting your grubby fingerprints all over it again. And all I'm going to do is just through practice use work with the Zippo. Say practice use. Work with it inside this cloth. All I'm going to do now is just turn it over, grab that little bit of wick that I left in there, and pull to about there, so that you've got this dark area here which is the soot, and then it goes really clean suddenly. And all you do then is you grab your scissors, which should be around here, and this is the problem with having a cluttered desk. Can never find anything. There it is. Right. You grab your scissors, and then with a firm grip on there, you just snip away just below the soot line. You get that nice clean cut. Now scissors will go through the thin bit of copper that's there, so you find there, just bringing that up a little bit. Right. And then turn that over, and then grab the wick in its entirety, preferably from the bottom. There we go. And all you want to do is just turn it so you can see both sides. Just pull it through ever so slightly so it sits just below the chimney top. You might have to play about with it a bit to get it in the right place. There we go. Obviously I keep grabbing it, but... And then all you're going to do is just move your wick to one side, put some more of your cotton wool back in, push that into place with your pliers, move the wick to the other side, put some more cotton wool back in, and then this is where you start wanting to pack it tightly-ish, but not too tightly. Too tightly and it's not going to hold the fuel very well, but tightly enough that you could get it in. And you'll know what I mean when you first take it out. And then I'm just going to bend that back, so. Push that into place. And then your last little bit is usually your problem bit that you probably grab from somewhere. Just push it all down. Your last little bit, push that into place. And there you go. So you should have a little area left at the top. Mine's not working properly, but that'll be fine in a second. What you want to do is just literally just force the bit of velvet into place, and that'll keep all the fabric in place below it. And there you have a very nice clean insert. The only thing you want to do now is get a fresh flint, when it decides to come out. Fresh flint, still handling everything mostly with one hand. Drop that into the pipe, follow it with your follower, and you want to do it finger tight. Right, there's a spring in there for a reason. You don't want to do it really tight, because if you do it too tightly you're never going to get it off, like so. Now for those people who might be constantly opening it up or something like that because you do tricks with it, I'd suggest maybe tightening it a little bit, but you don't really need to, if I'm honest. You should just be fine. And then all you want to do after that is put it back in the right way around, shove it into place, and then just give the inside and the areas that you cleaned another quick wipe down, as well as the bottom, which you're going to probably do separately. If you can find the little bit of brasso you used, which I can't, so I'll just do it again. This time you want less brasso, you really don't want that much, just a drop more than anything. A bottle of brasso should last you years, or should I say a lot of Zippos, unless you get a lot of chrome ones or you're constantly polishing it. Right, so you're going to close your Zippo because it doesn't need to be open anymore. Just give the bottom a go down, and then you might want to quickly just go over the outside. It might bring it up, it might not, it all depends. And then all you want to do is, after you've left it to dry for a minute or so, same procedure, just wipe it down and make sure you give it a good rub to get all the crap out, and you'll notice it'll come up a totally different colour. Now if you're still getting issues after that, the only other thing I can suggest is by using the cap, getting a bit on your brush, brushing it into place, and just constantly brush it backwards and forwards for about 5 or 10 minutes. What that'll do is it'll just keep rubbing it into place, and when it's about to dry it'll just rub it again. That's all I'm just going to do here because it's just been a bit stubborn. So, and then leave it to dry, and you'll see it suddenly just go dry. It'll go from being shiny to dull, like that. Just give it a good go over, applying a nice amount of pressure, and it'll really bring up that bottom back to its original shiny finish. Now sometimes the damage has been done and you can't really undo it, so sometimes you'll just have to accept that. Most of the time you can bring it up a nice colour just using a bit of willpower, like so. And there you go, you now have a nice shiny Zippo bottom with a very nice shiny inside. It's very nice, very new, almost brand new, with a bit of flint. And there you go. And that can then go back either in its box or whatever you're going to put it in. I would really suggest, if you are going to start buying and selling, you do buy some boxes. You can get them offline for like can get a big box of them if you're going through a lot. If you're only wanting a few here and there, you can probably get a box of about £5-ish. It's not a lot much really at all. And if you want to add a level of, I'll turn you back up because if you want to have a level of professionalism as well, when you're selling, you might want to do a video with them, show that here's a real Zippo, go through all the little steps showing that it's a Zippo. Although you might not want to show off too much of the damages, because that will mean people will lower the price, but you don't want to hide it from them. If you hide the damages, people are going to give you, one, a bad feedback, and two, you're going to get a lot of hassle and stuff like that. At the end of the day, you're selling because you want to sell, but you're also selling because it's a good idea to sell. So don't push your luck with things, basically. Also, with all Zippos that I do, a person gets a Zippo with 2 bits of free flint, as well as a fill up straight away as soon as they buy it. And I also managed to track down a supplier of some back stickers, and all I do is I stick one on the back saying that it's a refurbished one, but it's a refurbished Zippo, and I put it in a box with the original Zippo guarantee and a guarantee of my own as well. Now a lot of people are like, oh, why would you have a guarantee of your own? Well, what I do is I say, well, if it breaks through, if it breaks through certain uses, and I list those in a little piece of paper, bring it back to me. I will send it off to Zippo myself if I cannot fix the problem, and they will fix it for us, and I will pay the fee for that, because a lot of people just they'll break a Zippo and it'll just go in the bin because they don't want to pay the £5 for airmail or something like that. So that really gets people's attention. But do list that you won't do it if people have been doing tricks or something like that, unless you want to cover that, because the Zippo is likely to come back if they're really honest about it, or if they're a real stubborn goat. It's liable to come back within 6 months, and I had a couple of problems with that, of me selling a Zippo with this little guarantee and people coming back saying, oh, my Zippo's broken. I ended up having to spend about £20 sending off a load of Zippos back to Pennsylvania to fix the problem. So that's just one issue really. You do want to list, if you drop it or something, but list why you drop it or something. It's a bit of a pain, but at least then you cover your own ass, so you're not constantly paying for people's repairs. The other thing I'm going to do in this video, I'm just going to show you how you can use your chrome cleaner on this Zippo and how it will bring it up very nicely, as well as the insert. And I'm not going to do it with this one, but I will explain what you can use with this. So I'm going to take you back down for the other chroming. Now this is a Zippo that I use a lot. It actually is lit at the minute. It does have fueling. So all I'm going to do is, if I'm going to use fuel this time, I'm just going to use my brush. I'm going to brush it down. And just brushing it down, just like we did with the previous one, except I'm keeping, you can take it out if you want, it doesn't really bother much. And then I'll actually do the insert as well, so give the insert a good go down. As you can tell, this insert's a bit beat up really, I'm not surprised actually. And then all I'm going to do now, just exactly what we did with the previous one, with a bit of brass soap. Like so, lifting the hammer up again. going to leave that to dry a minute while I do the outside. I'm just going to move along, because as you can see there's all that dirt there. That's just the start of the crap coming off, just as the brasso dries. So you just want to move along when you start to see that for the outside, otherwise you're just spreading the dirt. It's the same process on the outside as well. There we go. So I've done the best I can. Bearing in mind it is a copper Zippo, so this will just spread over as you clean it. And then all I'm going to do is just dry this, well, clean this off. And already it's coming up a better colour. And this one is slightly older than the other Zippo, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this one's a 2000. This one's been used a lot, and it does get a lot of use as well, so it's not surprising it's not quite the same colour. And then, so that's not quite coming up as good as the other one did. It's coming up a lot better though, and to be honest, if you there is some stuff out there that does actually is specialised chrome stuff for cars, for scratches. If you buy that and you put it on, it'll come up the same, it'll come up really, really good. This is just really to get rid of the sweat, gunk, things like that, dirt that will really affect how your Zippo looks and stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that back in so I don't dry out, and just carry on closing it and then just rubbing it like so. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's still some scratches on it. That's something that you're never really going to get rid of when it comes to a Zippo. There are ways to remove it. Again, it's the specialised chrome stuff for light bumpers, which I will probably go out and buy, which I would also suggest you guys buy. You just put a bit of effort into it as well, it'll also come up. So, just like that. And you have, it stays a nice, shiny, very, very nice looking Zippo. So yeah, and that's all about it. That's it really when it comes to your chrome Zippos. When it comes to your other design Zippos, like your other metal ones, you can still pretty much use the same thing. However, you do get Zippos like this, where it's got like a vinyl paint on. Now, there's a couple of ways you can bring this up. You can clean it down with a bit of brasso or something. That doesn't really work because it's paint. The best thing to do is car wax. Car wax brings this up really nice. It brings it up as good as any chrome Zippo and makes it look brand new. And again, I would do that as well as also, this is the other Zippo I bought, as also the inside as well. In fact, I'll probably just give that a good clean, because this is pretty clean. Looks like the original owner did the same kind of trick I do. And yeah, so this is the original insert to this Zippo. I'm just going to give this one a clean down, and other than that, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and please leave any comments and suggestions of stuff that you would like to see, as well as anything else in the comment section below. I'll also put a couple of guys who you can look out for on YouTube, including Cutlery Lover. He's a really good guy, he really knows his stuff. He'll be in the doobly-doo below. I think I'll put one up here somewhere if I get a chance. So yeah, check out that guy's channel, as well as check out just general YouTube channels. There's a lot out there for just general things. A lot of the stuff I learnt from, say, YouTube and the Zippo forums. It's a good idea if you want to learn how to have the best collection and to really sell your collection to its full potential, to go and check out those forums, because it'll really, if you've got a couple of Zippos that shine, your collection will stand out. So yeah, that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please comment, rate and subscribe, and practice and enjoy.